Why, hello there, Stateside Madness. You're up late. Why are you so down? Are you mad at your boy because he didn't want to see the film tonight? Don't worry, your boy Polly's here to make it all better. Oh, now, don't let them catch you crying. Remember, tomorrow's just another day. Think about the good times. There, that's the way to do it. Now, if you think there's something, go talk to that boy. Talk and talk until it's light. Give him the business and never ask twice. Aw, look at that face. You're love-struck. Love is the best. Now, who's the sweetest girl in all the world?
Polly, what are you doing?
Sorry, my voice is killing me.
Quit messing around. We've got a podcast to record.
All right.
Hi there, folks out there. I'd like you and me, Tommy McGuire in this combo.
Hello, and welcome to the Stateside Madness podcast, the one and only podcast of the official Madness American fan service. I'm Laurie, along with my co-host Polly, here to bring you news, reviews, and deep dives into the nutty sound of the British pop band Madness. Hello, Stateside Madness. Welcome to another exciting episode of our podcast. This is Laurie.
And this is Polly.
And what are we talking about today, Polly?
Today it is sexy time for madness.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the more adult side of some of the Madness songs. Some of them will be a little bit sexy, and some of them will be dealing with more adult topics and adult themes. Polly and I have both kind of picked some songs that we'd like to play and we'd like to discuss.
Yeah, so we dug pretty hard to come up with things that would fit this criteria. And the criteria is not necessarily that they're all sexy songs. It's that they're in that realm. So what we're actually going to do is we will talk a little bit about each song. We'll go down the list, and following a quick listen by you folks of each of the songs, Laurie and I are going to vote on whether it's sexy time for madness or no sexy time for madness. So yeah, we'll kind of give our take on the inherent sexiness of each song.
All right. Yeah. So I think a lot of times when we talk about madness, we're thinking the nutty sound, we're thinking, more playful. And many of these songs are still very playful, but I think maybe we're not accustomed to thinking of them in this light of, more mature subject matter. By the way, this episode probably is not recommended for your little ones. This is really kind of a PG-13 episode, just FYI.
You think there's any kids that actually listen to us?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Does my husband count?
Oh, wow. He's young comparatively, but he's a full-grown boy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll start us off then. So Polly, you and I, we made lists separately, and then we just kind of combined them into one big list. And so the first song on my list is one that we've discussed before. It was from their first album, and it was also Mark Bedford's first songwriting effort. This is Mummy's Boy.
Bright and stiff would it come to this? Would he lose her to the ebony arms? Once went out with a London girl, dirty weekend in a hotel. Broke it off when she got shirty. She was 12 and he was 30. Right after that, he was dead sore. He wouldn't go out with girls no more. From that day since he never has. He wants to do something dirty.
Okay, so the reason I chose this song, Polly, is we've talked about this subject matter before in a few episodes. She was 12 and he was 30. I mean, there's this very uncomfortable age dynamic, right? That nowadays I don't think this song would fly.
Yeah, I'm gonna straight up say right off the bat, it is no sexy time for madness. There's just nothing sexy about pedophilia. So
Okay, so we both agree on this one, not sexy.
quick, let's move on to something else. So also off the One Step Beyond album in 1979, it's a Lee Thompson composition. It's Razorblade Alley, and it was one of my selections.
Talk too much, in fact, not at all. Oh, but to ask for the price, I was to be no fool. Money's no time to waste, or to shoot up the wall. You got to know how the place. Teacher, take me to your school. She led the way from the alley back to her house. Must not be seen going in.
Actually, this was one of my selections too, Polly. This is a good one. Why did you pick this one?
Well, because it's I guess you could say one of the more direct compositions lyrically about the act, I guess you could say. Yeah, it doesn't while it never comes out directly and says it, there's no escaping exactly what Lee's getting at.
Yeah, I mean, it's implied that this is a young man's first sexual encounter with a prostitute. And she said, I looked mighty but thin. I'm going to give you a second helping. So apparently they did the deed more than once. Besides the subject matter, and I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, it came from a movie. The idea, a guy said he was pissing razor blades and it was because he had a sexually transmitted disease. But aside from the lyrical content, it actually is a very kind of sensual song. If you just listen to the melody and the rhythm with that piano and the bass, I mean, it's got like a good kind of, sexy vibe to it. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think for the reasons you just stated, but there's a bit to unpack there. So in one respect, I think you could say that the female character in the story has a great deal of the sexiness going on, but the young man. So generally speaking, I don't feel first times are particularly sexy, at least so far as maybe a young man would go. I don't know. I heard that from a friend. Yeah, so, to me, it's a mixed thing, because I don't think you can say that the entirety of the song has like the full sexiness appeal to it. I'm going to have to vote no sexy time for madness on that one.
Oh, see, I disagree. I'm going to vote sexy time for madness. Like I said, it's very sensual piano and bass. So I'm going to say yes. So we don't agree on this one.
Okay. Send in your letters, people.
Send them to Polly. All right. Well, the next song I picked, and of course, Polly, you're going to laugh at me for picking this, but I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy, and I love a good double entendre. So I picked Tarzan's Nuts.
I save it for tonight.
So yeah, I picked it primarily for the name, the double meaning there. Are they saying that Tarzan is nuts, or are they referencing a part of his anatomy? But I don't think anybody could make the argument that this song is sexy. Do you want to disagree with me on this?
I won't disagree with you on that, Laurie. I'm going to vote no Sexy Time for Madness on that one. A noble effort on your part, but no.
Fair enough.
All right. And up next, we've got In the Middle of the Night. It's a Chrissy Boy and Suggs composition. Let's take a listen.
In the middle of the night, he steals through your garden, gives your hosiery a fright, and doesn't say pardon, as soft as a breeze, with an armful of underwear on his hands and knees, dreams about the knicker scare. Hello there, George, newsagent on the corner. How's the old car? Yes, the climate's getting warmer. Chatty old George, as you get your morning paper, read about the knicker beef underwear. Take a picture, good day, as you wonder.
All right, Laurie. So what are you thinking about In the Middle of the Night? No, the song. Don't tell me what you're thinking about in the middle of the night. Tell me what you think about the song In the Middle of the Night.
That kind of changes things, doesn't it? Well, as I just said previously, I love a good double entendre, and this song is full of them. We have filling underwear with dread. We have gives your hosiery a fright. We have a lot of anthropomorphism. Yeah, underwear and hosiery can't actually be frightened. But we've got a serial underwear thief, Nice Man George, stalking the neighborhood. Now, of course, if you read anything about, criminalistics or the FBI or anything, they'll tell you that that's a warning sign that George is going to eventually escalate to sex crimes. So might be a little ominous in that respect. But we both picked this one. So why did you pick it?
Mostly because I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to come up with songs. This was my idea. But I think we've got to give George the benefit of the doubt. He may, for all we know, he might max out at being an underwear thief.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, so what do we say? Sexy or not sexy?
I want you to say first.
Well, definitely not sexy.
Really?
Yeah, definitely not sexy.
I'm gonna operate off the premise that we've got more than a few underwear thieves that listen to the podcast, so I'm going to try to placate them. Aside from a token amount of money that the said articles of lingerie are worth, I think George is committing mostly a harmless crime. And since in doing the crime, he is somewhat satiated, I'm going to give a reluctant, but I'm going to say it's a yes, Sexy Time for Madness.
Okay. Well, so at the end of In the Middle of the Night, George makes his escape, right? He's selling the newspapers. He gets the morning edition early, sees his face on the front page, so he makes his escape. So then the next song is the continuation of the Nice Man George saga. That's Close Escape, which is off their second album, Absolutely. Let's listen.
That was a close escape. Had to get a new hobby to relate. Something less conspicuous. Won't take up too much time. Something less energetic. But what I've got in mind, I won't be too persistent because I'm not that way inclined. See, that's the one for me. Look at the Collins, says she's free. Sweaty fingers, 95p. 4151683. Hello, Miss Collins, you're not lonely. I'm in the undies business, see. Please, can you tell me the size how far for the knees?
So we talked about escalation, right? Well, George has had to find a new hobby, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so he's taken to obscene phone calls. He's calling women and asking them questions about their panties. What do you think of Close Escape?
Okay, so now I'm gonna operate on a new premise that even in 1980, lewd phone calls are not a cool thing. So I'm gonna go ahead. It's not a very difficult stance to take. I'm not really putting myself out there. I'm gonna say no sexy time for madness.
Are you sure that's not just because he's calling someone named Miss Collins?
I don't know. Could have been calling
Okay.
my mom.
Okay. All right. Now I'll agree with you. Not sexy.
Yeah, very little need for debate there, thankfully.
Okay. But it's still a good jam, though. I love the saxophone on this one. This is a really good one to kind of play in the background when I'm trying to get work done, just for the vibe of the song.
All right, let's move on to 1980, another Tomo composition, this time Tomo and Barson. It's Embarrassment.
Within the first 2 lines, it's like pretty red. You know you can't see us no more. Keep away from our door. Don't come round here no more. What on earth did you do that for? Alright, she don't wanna know. She says, what will the neighbours think? They'll think we don't. That's what they'll think. We don't. But I will, 'cause I know they think I don't. We don't wanna know. He says we are disgrace to the human race. He says, how can you show your face when you're a disgrace to the human race?
All right, Laurie. So, got any thoughts on Embarrassment?
Well, this was on my list. I noticed it wasn't on yours. The reason I picked it was because of the adult themes. It's not really evident to the listener unless you know the story. And I know we've talked about this in a few episodes, but Lee wrote this song when his sister became pregnant. She was an unwed mother. She's pregnant by a Black man, and interracial relationships were mostly frowned on in Britain in the 80s, early 80s anyway. And the song is about her family's reaction. And a few weeks ago, we had posted a video. One of our podcast listeners had shared with us, and I thought this was a really cool video. It's actually an interview with Lee's niece, Haley Richards, and she talks about being the subject of this song. She says, my mom was that embarrassment. And it's really kind of a neat interview. So we've posted that a few weeks ago on the Stateside Madness Facebook page and also the Stateside Madness on Twitter. So go back and take a look at that video. It's really kind of cool. So that's why I chose this song, Polly, because I think unplanned pregnancy and interracial relationships are a little bit more on the adult side as far as topics are concerned. What do you think?
Yeah, well, certainly it's in that realm of, adult themed. But, it's, of course, it all takes place well after the sexy time. So, it's really dealing with the aftermath of, family conflict and stuff like that. So, I don't know, not a lot sexy going on there. So far as what's contained in the song, I'm going to give it a hearty no sexy time for madness.
Okay, I'd have to agree with you there. It's not very sexy. So then I'm very curious to hear what you're going to hear about the next song. This was another one that was on my list. Now, we have never played this on our podcast before. This is a song from the album 7. It's called Benny Bullfrog by Lee and Chris.
Found the fiver. Willie.
So there I am, polished off my wristful buffalo at the palm. My wood is packed to reimburse. I've yet to re-rehearse. Many moons spent on love lines left from long leg, ball fight, fat neck, Betty Bullfrog. Final run through, polish up the flower of love of my buttercup. Moon in June for you all croon, just like ball fight, fat
All right. So Polly, thoughts on Betty Bullfrog?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a horned up bullfrog, but yeah, I don't know. It's all attitude. So it could be somebody's thing, but I don't know. I'm going to give it a no sexy time for madness.
Okay. So yeah, I chose this because of some of the lyrics. And it is really kind of a goofy, whimsical song, but my wad is packed to reimburse. Final run through polish up the flower of love, my buttercup. But you're not hungry. I knew a sixth sense gave me a clue. I know what else we could do. Yeah, so this is a very horny bullfrog. No, I definitely think it's not sexy. As a matter of fact, I think the song is downright disgusting with some of the sound effects, but I had to include it. So yeah, not sexy for me.
Also from 1981, we've got Pack-a-Mac. It is a Thompson and Barson composition. Let's take a listen.
Side. Those where it be crude, too late to find me shrewd. I never lay it down when walking from about. At home where it be warm, you're sound asleep on board. I'm a small chap, oh, tall chap. When it rains, cats and dogs, from my pocket I pick up, Pack-a-Mac.
All right, Laurie, what are your thoughts on Pack-a-Mac?
Well, this was another one that was on my list. Again, because of some of the adult themes. Ostensibly, it's about a raincoat, but it's really about a condom. I wear my cap with pride when swaying side to side. Inside a rubber wall yelling, screams echo off the ceiling. My love could penetrate, so I'll leave you now prostrate. It's a very innocent sounding song at first until you really listen to those lyrics. And then we're talking about odors wafting about, and
Hey,
you know, that line is in the song. So what did you think of Pack-a-Mac?
oh boy. Yeah, it's as though they sat in a room and just jotted everything down they could think of real quick. It's not one of my favorite Madness songs anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, yeah, not that much of a fan. It's a bit too blunt. You know, it's not contextualized at all. So I'm going to give it a no sexy time for madness.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. No sexy time for madness. Then, moving on, speaking of rubbers. Oh, yeah, for our listeners not in America, that's what we call condoms over here. We call them rubbers. Do I have time to tell a little story from high school?
Holy shit, yes, you do.
Okay, well, no, it's just about the colloquialism there, the use of the word rubber. We had an exchange student from Spain. She's a very lovely, lovely little girl. And during a test, she turned to the student next to her. She wanted to borrow a pencil eraser. And she said, "Do you have a rubber?" And poor girl, the entire class busted out laughing. She had absolutely no idea what she had said. And she turned like all different shades of red, the poor dear. But it was definitely an immersive English lesson for her that day. What you got? What you got?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I was
all
just,
right.
I was
So
waiting for you.
all right. So I know we've talked about this song a lot on this podcast before. It's about a 16-year-old boy who wants to purchase a condom at the drugstore, but he's too embarrassed to actually say what he means. This is House of Fun.
Good morning, miss. Can I help you, son?
plastic wheels, clay on a corner's edge, just walked in. Welcome to the house of fun. Now I've come of age. Welcome to the house of fun. Welcome to the lion's den. Temptation's on his way. Welcome to the house.
So I don't know that anybody could argue that the song House of Fun is sexy. So right away, I'm going to say that it's a no vote from me, but I do want to make sure everybody understands why I chose it. Box of balloons with the featherlight touch, pack of party poppers that pop in the night. And the lady behind the counter is just like, this is a drugstore. This is not the House of Fun. Right. So you can just kind of feel the embarrassment for this poor kid. And I think that probably most of us experience that at some point in time. Polly, what do you think of House of Fun?
So there's nothing sexy about buying condoms. In fact, it is just as portrayed in the song. It's fucking terrifying. So yeah, it's a no sexy time for madness on that one. All right, next up then, off the Danger Man sessions. It's a Lord melody and Lancelot Pinard composition. It is Shame and Scandal.
Down in Trinidad, there was a family with much confusion, as you will see. A mama and a papa and a boy who was grown. He wanted to marry and have a wife of his own. He found a girl, she suited him nice. He went to his father to ask his advice. His father said, son, I'll have to say no. The girl is your sister, but your mama don't know. Oh, misery, shame and scandal in the family. I say, oh, misery.
All right, Laurie. So Shame and Scandal was one of the easier ones for me to decide on. Came to mind when thinking about sexy madness songs. So what are your thoughts on Shame and Scandal?
Well, I want to hear more about you. I want to hear more about why it was one of the first ones that came to mind for you. And then I'll tell you. So I'll show you mine if you'll show me yours.
Sure. Wow. Holy crap. There's a lot of sex going around in that song. Every verse is precipitated by a former dalliance and why this young man can't be betrothed to his woman of choice. So either it's the father fucking around, or it's the mom, or it's something like that. There's a whole lot of something going on there. What about you, Laurie?
Well, yeah, everything you said. I actually was thinking more of the video when I chose it. So the video, there's a lot of dirty dancing going on. I think it must have come out after Dirty Dancing Havana Nights, because that really is what that video seems inspired by. The song itself, whether or not the song is sexy, I don't know, but the video really is sexy. So yes, sexy time for me. How about you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely sexy. So I'm gonna put, I would even say it's the first real sexy madness song, even if they didn't write it. So it's a big sexy time for madness for me.
All right. Well, we had two songs off the Danger Men sessions in our list, both of us, right? We both listed Shame and Scandal, and you and I both listed this next one. It is a cover of the Ray Davies Kinks classic, Lola.
I'm not dumb, but I can't understand why she walks like a woman and talks like a man. Lola, L-O-L-A-La-Hula, la-la-la-la, Lola. We drank champagne and danced all night under electric candlelight. She picked me up and sat me on her knee and said, little boy, won't you come home with me? Well, I'm not the world's most passionate guy, but when I looked in her eye, I almost fell for my Lola. L-O-L-A-La-Hula.
So, Polly, why did you think Lola is sexy time for madness?
Well, for a bunch of reasons. One is, you seriously didn't think I'd let an episode go by without a chance to at least involve the Kinks in it. So, it's a fantastic song, great cover by Madness. But yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of sexy going on there. There's a young, naive man goes out into the world, and the first thing that happens is he gets smitten by this woman. It's a night out on the town, and he falls head over heels right off the bat with somebody. And it's very sexual, very sensual. There is, when she squeezed me tight, she nearly broke my back. Awful lot of stuff. It's a very sexy song.
Okay. I liked it because I just love the idea of Suggs crushing on a dude. And I mean, because that's Lola, right? At the very end, I'm a man and so is Lola, right? And that he's alluding to it the entire song. But that's kind of hot. I kind of dig the idea of Suggs crushing on a dude. I like gender bending stuff. I like stuff that's unexpected like that. I mean, I know the song was very controversial when the Kinks recorded it, but it really takes on another dimension to me to hear Suggs sing it. There's still something just delightful about him crushing on a guy that I dig. So I'd say it's sexy for me. No?
Yeah, no, I think it's very sexy. I mean, it's 2021. Even, back in the 70s when the song came out, it's meaningful to a lot of people in that situation. And, it's very storied. The origin of that song is attributed to a lot of people. Ray Davies himself, Robert Wace, the Kinks manager. Everybody seems to be tagged as the inspiration for that song.
Really? And Ray Davies has never said one way or the other, has he?
He's been very coy about it. He's intent on people thinking it could have been him, but I think by all accounts, I think they really are referring to Robert Wace, but who knows? Doesn't matter.
All right, interesting discussion. So yeah, we both agree, sexy time for Madness. We both voted yes. What's next?
Next is from 2009. It's a Russell Hardy and Ian Dury composition. It's the Rodette song.
Shoulder, shaking on her ass. Ain't no doubt about it. She's a gamey lass, jerking with her elbow, clever with her knee. The way she move it over, does her best to please. Well, diction very bad, friction double rich, raising little hussy, rock and rolling bitch. When it come to business, take off like a jet. Rocking's her vocation. She's a very high road dad.
So, Laurie, what are your thoughts on the Rodette song?
So as many of our fans will know, it's a cover of a song by Kilburn and the High Rose, which was Ian Dury's first band. As far as I know, this is the only Madness song where Suggs is using the words ass and bitch. And it is about having sex with a groupie. Shaking on her shoulder, shaking on her ass. Ain't no doubt about it. She's a gamely lass. Jerking with her elbow, clever with her knee. So, yeah, I mean, this is probably the least subtle of all of the songs that we are going to talk about today. Polly, what do you think of the Rodette song?
So I'm not as familiar with the Madness version. I kind of forgot about it. But I think really the Kilburn and the High Roads song is I'm taking a bit of a leap here, but I think it's a bit of an homage to the Rolling Stones' Brown Sugar. And if it's not an homage to that, it's definitely, I think, an homage to the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers period, which is like my favorite Stones period. Yeah, I don't tend to be a fan of things that are too overt. But this song really nails it, you know. There's rare circumstances where you can be that upfront, be borderline vulgar, and I think it really works. And this is definitely a case where I think a song like this works. So I'm going to give it a big Sexy Time for Madness.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that one. I'm going to vote yes as well. And Ian Dury was really known for pushing the gauntlet and for these kind of controversial songs that make people uncomfortable like that. So yeah. And as we explored in a previous episode, Ian Dury was a huge influence on our boys. So it's no surprise that they would do a cover. A little bit surprising, I think, that they would choose this one. So now this was actually the B-side of a single, and the A-side was Dust Devil. We've talked about this one before, but let's listen to it again. This is one of my favorites. This is Dust Devil.
Smiley little whiz kid, yeah, she's streets ahead. On top of the daybreak and the last one to bed. Keeps a gizmo under her pillow. Little dust devil whipping up a storm, paving the way to drop out. She's equanimous to the norm. But come early evening, well, she's banging off the ceiling, and I'd say, come down, I am missing you. If these little fingers control you into my picture.
So Polly, before you tell us what you think of Dust Devil, you and I had a discussion about this during our Liberty of Norton Folgate episode, and I just want to play a little snippet of what you said in that episode. All right. Do you remember?
Okay.
Do you remember?
I think I do.
Okay. So this might be the first instance of a Madness song being named after a vibrator.
You
But-
think so? Really?
Why, you think there's other ones that were named after a vibrator, or you?
No. I think of. I don't get the under the pillow thing. I really think of a vibrator as like a nightstand thing. I mean, who would seriously keep a vibrator under their pillow? I mean, that could go really wrong. You could turn it on accidentally. You'd have like nightmares about bees and stuff like that.
I know a lot of people that keep their vibrators
Under the pillow? Really?
Yeah. So, Polly, do you remember that discussion?
I remember that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a little too wrapped up in the practicality or lack thereof of storing a vibrator under your pillow. But I still suggest it's a bad idea. It's what nightstands are for.
Or if you're hiding it, maybe between your mattress and the box spring. But yeah, so Dust Devil, again, is it's about a battery-powered tool for her pleasure. I absolutely adore this song. It's one of my top Madness songs of all time. It always puts me in a good mood. So I am going to have to say it is Sexy Time for Madness for me. How about you?
I'm going to say yes to it being a Sexy Time for Madness. Even if it wasn't the lyrical thematics of it, I'd say the soundscape kind of alludes to that. And when you bought Norton Folgate, if you downloaded the Ashley Beetle Warbox remix, even more so, a great deal sexier version than the album track. So yeah, I'm going to give it a big Sexy Time for Madness.
You chose another song off that album too, and I was actually surprised by this one. This one wasn't even on my radar. What was the next song that you chose?
The next song would have been That Close.
Ready for love. We were that close to getting it right. Crashing and burning. Remember those summer days when we took whatever came our way and get away. Hey, but not too far. We'll take a spin round in your rusty old car.
Laurie, so what are your thoughts about That Close? That Close being a Suggs and Chrissy Boy composition.
It's a beautiful song. I absolutely love it. I'm stumbling over myself trying to figure out what about this would be sexy time. So I'm waiting for you to explain to me.
I might have been grasping at straws again here, but there's a bit of the, the ready for love. We were so close. It was scary, blah, 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 blah. That close getting it right, crashing and burning. I'll admit it was a bit of a stretch for me to come up with this one as a selection, but there's a bit in there. No one else could see. It was all a hazy dream, blah, 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 blah. Certainly does not have a lyric in there that would suggest there was anything other than just intimacy going on. But, we had some time to feel like I chose That Close.
All right. So what do you say? Sexy time for madness? Yes or no?
Yeah, no sexy time for madness.
Okay. I agree with you on that one. It's a no from me. The next song is arguably one of the sexiest songs by Madness. It was written by Woody and his brother and very good friend of the podcast, Nick Woodgate. This is Kitchen Floor.
You can do it on the kitchen floor, hanging on the bathroom door. You know what I'm living for, 'cause I've got you. Do it on the kitchen floor, hanging on the bathroom door. 'Cause you know what I'm living for, 'cause I've got you. Sometimes you'll feel so low, you know that you're losing your mind. You feel so innocent, but you know that
Holly, what do you think of the kitchen floor?
All right. So what do I think of it? The science bears it out. You really can do it on the kitchen floor. You really can do it hanging on the bedroom door. It's the most sexy time for madness song that's ever been.
Oh, I agree with you. Very, very sexy and very, very naughty. I think the first time I heard it, I think I was actually blushing a little bit just because I wasn't expecting it from Madness. So yeah, sexy time, definitely.
You know what else gets a sexy time for madness?
What?
Nick Woodgate for writing
All
that song.
right. All right. Shout
With
out
Woody.
to our pal Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. All right. Polly thinks you're sexy.
You sure? Why not? Like again, it's 2021. Also another Suggs and Chrissy Boy composition, and also off of Wee Wee CC, yeah, yeah, da da, it's La Luna.
oh, the places I remember from the moment I was born. From Battersea to Birmingham, memories forlorn. Just faint wafts of nostalgia blowing gently on the breeze. cinnamon, the evergreen of all I have received. Estrellas y la luna, the rays are breaking through. Out come the twinkling stars, shining down on you. Well, I'm in and out.
All right, Laurie, what are your thoughts on La Luna?
Well, it's a good song. Sexy? I don't know. I mean, it's no bolero. Why did you pick it? Because I noticed it was on your list. It was not on mine.
Well, I don't know. It's the boys branching out into a sort of quasi, romance language themed sort of song. So I was just kind of thinking, that's the boys doing their muy caliente. So that's why I came up with it.
All right. So how are you voting? Sexy Time for Madness? Yes or no?
You know what? I'm going to make an argument for this. If you were there and you're on the couch and you're having drinks and you put La Luna on, it's totally going to be sexy time for Matt. Well, it's going to be totally sexy time for somebody. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make the controversial claim that yes, this is a sexy time for madness song.
All right. I'm going to vote no. I'm sorry. It is not sexy for me.
Oh, Laurie.
Yeah, sorry. All right. So the next song you and I both had on our list, this is from their most recent album, Can't Touch Us Now. It was written by Suggs, Mr. Apples. Let's listen.
A well-respected man, woe betide you if you wander from God's plan. Square-shouldered, straight as a die, the righteous truth, he never tell you no lies. But when that old sun go down, he's heading off up the wrong side of town. Eyes sparkle in the red light glow, trouser pockets, he's ready to go.
All right. So as I mentioned, we both chose this one. Polly, why did you think Mr. Apples is Sexy Time for Madness?
Well, just because, not because it's a guy, keeping his secret from society. It's just a guy, he's got his thing, He's out there in the red light district. He's satiating his needs. It's it's a thing.
Okay.
What about you?
I was thinking more of the video. Again, this is another one where the video is, ooh, wow. So we've got Lee in all kinds of compromising situations, let's just say. And it's a lot more direct than any of the other Madness videos in terms of its content and its meaning. So I chose this one specifically thinking of the video, not so much the song itself. The song, I would argue, Calm Down, Mr. Apples. I mean, unless that's your name for your junk, I don't think that that's really going to be very sexy. I don't know. How about you? What do you think? Sexy time or no?
Well, if they would have called it Mr. Eggplant, it would have been more sexy time than Mr. Apples. But no, I'm going to make a case for it. The poor guy's got his thing, but here he is, a pillar of the community. And he's kind of got to go underground, to kind of get his deal done. I feel bad for Mr. Apples.
I don't.
So I'm going to give it what?
I don't feel bad for him. I don't, because it's a situation that he's created. The whole idea is the hypocrisy. The idea that he says one thing and does another, that he condemns somebody else's behavior that he is guilty of himself.
Well, maybe I just find hypocrisy sexy.
Okay, and on that note, I do have to throw one honorable mention in here, Polly, not for a song, but for a part of a song. That part in The Liberty of Norton Folgate, where Carl is speaking in Welsh. I gotta, oh my gosh. It's sexy.
You are smitten like a kitten. Yeah, I know. I
It's
know
the
how you feel
voice.
about Carl. Yeah, it is.
It's the voice. It's the voice. I don't think if I met him in person, it's not like I would like be falling all over him or anything. But there's just something about that voice. It's like, like I guess Barry White is for some women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I would never take that away from
Yeah.
a man. He's a
So
sexy man.
if we had to give an award for sexiest voice, I would definitely vote for Carl.
Well, I'd vote for me at the beginning of the episode, but whatever. You do you.
All right. So that I guess is our list. We both put together our list of songs, Sexy Time for Madness. So the ones that we agreed on, Polly, we both agreed Kitchen Floor is absolutely the sexiest of the Madness songs. We also agreed on Dust Devil, the Rodette song, Lola, and Shame and Scandal. So it's interesting that pre-2005, there was nothing that you and I really agreed on.
Yeah, well, we'd agreed on quite a few things not being sexy. But yeah, I mean, that's really not our boys' forte. It's a little off-brand for them, There's plenty of people doing the sexy music out there. Our boys don't need to do that all the time anyways.
Yeah.
Before we go, Stateside Madness, we've got a special treat for you. Now, our brothers and sisters from other mothers and misters, the good folks across the pond at MIS, they sent us along a demo version of the song Oh. Now, you might remember the song Oh, O-H, from The Madness. Now, in this demo version, Chaz, who wrote the lyrics, really upped his game and really brought the sexy time to a Madness song, or in this case, The Madness song. Now, do take a listen without blushing if you can. This is really the high water mark of sexy time for Madness. I think you'll notice a distinct difference between the level of naughtiness we might have been talking about in this episode and this demo version here. Take a listen, enjoy, and again, thanks to our friends at MIS.
So looking ahead in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from the date that this episode is being released is Christmas.
That it is. And we're taking it off, kind of,
sort of. So we're going to put together, rather than a traditional episode with you and me talking for an hour, we're going to put together a Christmas playlist. And I've already started working on mine. I think you started working on yours too.
That I have. I've been hard at work on it. So this is going to be quite a bit of time. So when you have your in-laws and your extended family over and you want to annoy the hell out of them, play our Christmas playlist.
But I think we should make one promise, not just to our listeners, but to each other, Polly. This is going to be a Mariah Carey free zone.
Yeah, oh yeah, you won't catch me sneaking Mariah Carey on that list.
Okay. I mean, if you're a fan of Mariah, that's great. More power to you. I don't have anything against her. I just can't deal with All I Want for Christmas Is You anymore. I just can't. So it will be a Mariah Carey free Christmas on Stateside Madness.
That it will. And so far as that goes, if you name all the big 5 Christmas songs, those won't appear on there either.
So you'll want to tune in for that in 2 weeks. So our closing song today, some of our listeners might already know this band. There are two gents in the UK who call themselves the Bed and Breakfast Men. Their website says they are probably the best ukulele-based close harmony madness tribute duo. And I'm inclined to agree. So I reached out to them and they gave us permission to play one of their songs. Their website is bbm as in Mary is.com. That's for Bed and Breakfast Men Information Service, and bbmis.com. So this is going to be their cover of Dust Devil. All right, so we'll see you back in 2 weeks for our Christmas playlist. It's a goodbye from me.
And that's a goodbye for me. Go get a beer, you sexy Stateside Madness.
1, 2, 3, 4. Spy the little whiz kid, yeah, she's streets ahead. On top of the daybreak and the last one to bed. And she keeps the gizmo under her pillow. Little dust devil whipping up a storm, paving the way for dropouts. She's eponymous to the norm. But on early evening, well, she's banging off the ceiling, and I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could paint you into my picture." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could draw you into my picture." Holds the toilet seat around her neck and writes the landlord out another open check. But come the daybreak, well, she's a self-made, and I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could paint you into my picture." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could draw you into my picture, they surely would. Surely would." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could paint you into my picture." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could draw you into my picture." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could paint you into my picture." And I said, "Calm down, I am missing you. If these little fingers could draw you into my picture, they surely would. They surely would." Dust. My eye.